Twitter's impact on tomorrow's election, as well as the future of the platform. We're talking to Nicole Gill, the co-founder and executive director of Accountable Tech, a nonprofit that looks at tackling social media's threat on information and democracy. Also with us this morning, Richard Lawler, senior news editor at The Verge, a technology news website. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Certainly, Twitter's been making some headlines lately, to put it diplomatically, and the timing of all this really is fascinating. So it's a great topic to chew on. Thanks so much. Nicole, as I mentioned a second ago, there was concern about allowing people to pay for verification ahead of the midterms, meaning if you have $8 a month, you can get the little blue check and seem legit or official on the platform, like many politicians are and media folks and big business, that kind of thing. Can you explain, though, how the new system potentially could encourage misinformation if everybody with $8 can get verified?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. So under the new system that Elon Musk has put in place and now put on hold, thankfully, for a few days, anybody with a credit card that can link up their account and pay $8 a month is now allowed to get a blue check mark. And what he has quickly realized through folks impersonating himself through the program is that the ability to pay $8 a month doesn't actually verify your identity. And so what we are at risk of is folks not necessarily impersonating Joe Biden on the platform, but impersonating a CDC official or a local election official. And that person taking this opportunity to spread mis and disinformation, especially at a critical time like 24 hours before crucial midterm elections, where information is incredibly important, and being able to fact check misinformation in the moment is it takes time. It's quite hard.
And Richard, you've been covering the big takeover of Twitter by Elon Musk from the very beginning. He certainly has had a fascinating start in a short amount of time, from the carrying the kitchen sink in video, to layoffs, to this blue check system, to retweeting a conspiracy theory about the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. But looking at those layoffs again, what is he trying to achieve? We're talking about a few thousand people who were pink slipped, their badges no longer operable at the building. What do you make of these layoffs? Why is it all about the name of increasing the bottom line? And does losing all those warm bodies also hurt the effort when it comes to misinformation on the platform?
That is a question that I think a lot of people are really trying to answer right now. And the first part of it, in terms of what he's trying to achieve, he had to be forced into buying Twitter. This is a deal that he made months ago and then tried to get out of, with really months of legal wrangling and arguments about why he shouldn't be forced to buy Twitter for the $44 billion that he originally negotiated. But then he did, and now he does own it. And he also took out billions of dollars in loans, took out about $13 billion in loans. The interest on those loans needs to be paid. That money needs to come from somewhere. And this is a company that, in its last quarterly earnings report, said that it lost $344 million since he's become the owner. Elon said it was losing $4 million a day. He needs to find new revenue streams. And for him, the idea of subscriptions and being able to pay for these services that I think most people thought were free, or that maybe he feels like people wanted to have access to, is a way to replace that. Also, to cut costs. One of the ways that he can cut costs is to cut employees. But that leaves Twitter wanting in really key areas, not only here in the United States, but also around the world, internationally, where you need people who know the local layout, who know the language, who can enforce those kinds of policies.
And there was some reporting this weekend on who actually is running the day-to-day here. I want to highlight this a little bit. They're talking about Musk. The Washington Post reports he has installed a small council of lieutenants to assess the company and begin implementing his vision. The group includes Musk's personal lawyer, his chief of staff, a couple of investor friends, and a former Twitter executive who left the company years ago. So those are the soldiers on the ground kind of implementing Musk's vision here. So his inner circle, so people who are obviously going to try to enact his precise vision. Nicole, if you're an average Twitter user right now, is there anything that we can do to kind of purge our feed or make sure that we're getting top-notch information? I think there's several million people just stuck in the middle of all the corporate and financial shenanigans that are going on right now. What can the everyday Twitter user do right now just to stay sane and stay in front of good, credible information?
Right. It's like the old adage, you break it, you buy it, except Elon bought Twitter and now he's smashing it to pieces. And we're all just here along for the ride, unfortunately. If you're an average user, you should do the same things that you were doing before now. You should trust and verify, or verify before you trust the source, I should say. So find a second source. Read the article before you retweet it. If something sounds off to you or sounds a little too incredible to believe, it might be. So look into it. I think, news today moves so quickly. And a lot of us use Twitter for that reason, right? It's a good way to aggregate the news and kind of find headlines, but the headline doesn't always tell the full story. And so especially under Elon Musk's rule at Twitter, where we're seeing QAnon counts, come back on the platform. We're seeing misinformation. The use of the N-word is spiraling. You should especially be cautious of what you believe on Twitter and what you reshare with your followers right now.
And obviously that advice can apply to the CEO as well, who started out his tenure by retweeting a conspiracy theory about the Pelosi attack. So you do have to lead by example, one would hope, as well. Richard, let's end this with you. Last week, Twitter got a major investment from Saudi prince. So now some congressional lawmakers are expressing concern over national security. So we have the misinformation issue, we have the hate speech issue, but let's talk about national security, because that $44 billion, that now famous figure, that's not all just Elon whipping out the checkbook. There's a lot of folks' dollars in that pot. Explain where all that money comes from and if there is indeed any threat to our national security.
Yes, Elon has partners in owning Twitter. That includes the Prince from Saudi Arabia, the government of Saudi Arabia, the government of other countries. You have these banks who also have their interests. You have Jack Dorsey, who also owns a share. Now, and because of who Elon Musk is, and because he has other businesses, he has Tesla, he has SpaceX, he has all these other ventures, he is exposed perhaps to other countries and their wants in ways that a company like, say, Facebook is not, where Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have to necessarily worry about the Chinese government and what they want because his services are already banned there. Elon Musk, however, wants to sell Tesla cars in China, wants to manufacture Teslas in China, and needs to work with the government. So they may be able to exert their influence on him in a way that another executive would be able to avoid. And that's something that he'll have to learn and adjust. And Twitter users can kind of only wait and see exactly what comes of that. And it's an unusual situation. But now Elon is sort of speed running his way through what other social media services have gone through in the last 10 or 15 years.
Wow. Nicole, in 5 seconds, is Twitter as we know it around in 2 years?
I don't think so.
Wow. Financially speaking, or just it takes on a different form or becomes something else?
Elon's taken on a deal where he owes $1 billion a year in interest alone. That's why he is making these rash decisions in an attempt to make money. And along the way, Twitter is operating like an emergency room where we have to stem the bleeding, but all of the cuts and bruises add up and they're not getting taken care of. And I don't think the platform can sustain that for 2 years.
Wow. Fascinating discussion. I could talk to you guys the full hour. I'm riveted by what's going on with Twitter right now and kind of what it means for where we are politically and culturally right now. But we're out of time. Please come back, as we certainly know Elon's not done making headlines, to say the least. Nicole and Richard, many, many thanks. Come back here to Rush anytime. Enjoy your day. Thanks so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you.